If you love classic hip-hop, the beats, the bars, and the stories behind the records, you're in the right place. This is Classic Flow, where we break down old school hip-hop year by year through the music and conversation with the people who lived it. I'm DJ Ron, the classic DJ from the Bay. Let's get into it.
DjRon, I represent the Yay area.
What's good? Welcome back to Classic Flow. This is where we don't just talk about records, we talk about what they meant when they landed. 1987 is one of those years. Not just because hip-hop was trying to prove itself, but because it didn't have to anymore. The music was louder, the messages were sharper, the culture was expanding in real time. It's also the first year that I went to a concert. Shout out to Henry J. Kaiser Convention, Oakland, California, 1987. And if you recognize this intro, you already know what it is. When you know classic music, you sung that first intro, that first line with Too Short. So let's go ahead and get into the songs of the year. But before we do that, before we get into these songs of the year and the album breakdowns, let me take a second to show love. First of all, thank you to our new subscribers. Shout out to Sons of Funk. That's Rico Crowder and the crew down with Master P and No Limit. Also, shout out to JFat1. Then I got to give a shout out to Pothole City. I see you. I appreciate you. Welcome to the flow. But not only that, though, I also want to highlight one of our supportive subscribers, someone who consistently comments, engages, and really gets what we're building here. Shout out to Bill Stacks, 9850. Salute to you for being a part of the conversation and not just watching it. If you're rocking with this breakdown already, rocking with this episode already, like the video, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and also share the history. It helps this content to reach more people who actually care about the culture. All right, let's get into it. This is the year of not only my first concert, but my first beatbox. So I was making all kind of mixtapes. The reason why, there was so many singles. I was recording off the radio. I was recording radio to radio. and record to cassette. Any kind of way to get the latest and the greatest cuts that hit the airwaves and our airwaves. So let's get into the song. Top Billin' by Audio 2. Not a fan. Never was. You know, respect to y'all if that's your crew. Respect to y'all if that's your crew. But yeah. Dana Dane with Fang. Now, Dana Dane, a little different, but he sounded like the rebirth of Slick Rick. That British cadence, the sharp storytelling, and animated delivery. But Dana Dane wasn't a clone, though. He had his own flow, his own humor, and his own character, blending accents, punchlines, and slick talking to something familiar, yet fresh. It felt like lineage, not imitation. In 1987, that balance mattered. Mr. Big Stuff by Heavy D. A new kid on the block called himself chunky but funky. Heavy D flipped expectations. He was confident without being hard. He was lyrical without being preachy, and smooth without trying. The record balanced bravado, humor, charm, and that's why it worked. Mr. Big Stuff showed you that you could be a lyricist and a ladies' man at the same time, and it helped open the door for a more playful, charismatic lane in hip-hop without sacrificing skills. Also, he was one of the first people that I saw at that concert that I mentioned before. Everlasting Bass by Rodney O and Joe Cooley. This record right here is about system culture, sound system culture. Bass you feel before you understand it. Minimal lyrics, heavy low end, and a groove built for trunks, park jams, and late night rides. It wasn't chasing radio, it was setting the mood. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar and Metro Boomin Sound for the remake that hit just as hard today. Gotta Be Tough by Shy D. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Atlanta, Georgia enters the chat. At a time when regional voices were still fighting for space, Shy D brought Atlanta grit straight to the speakers and made it clear. Toughness wasn't a pose, it was a requirement. The beat slapped hard and an Earth, Wind & Fire sample. Oh my goodness, it sounded perfect up in there. Have a Nice Day by Roxanne Shante. OG version now. Produced by Marley Marl. It showed and proved why she was the queen of the Juice Crew. She had a sharp tongue, a fearless delivery, and no wasted bars. Shantae didn't just hold her own, she set the tone. This record is confidence, skill, and credibility in one cut. Rebel Without a Pause by Public Enemy came in between albums, and they were months ahead of their second when they dropped this Cold Jam. Loud, relentless, and impossible to ignore, the record didn't wait for an album cycle. It announced where Public Enemy was headed before the world caught up, turning anticipation into momentum and underground buzz into inevitability. How You Like Me Now by Kool Moe Dee. This, for a lot of people, was similar to that back then you didn't want me, now I'm hot, you all on me kind of cut. You know what I mean? To put it in perspective, but this wasn't a you rejected me now and I'm back. This was an attempt to hold a name that was losing its shine to new school rappers, namely LL Cool J. I'm bigger and better. Forget about Deffer. Though it was jabs and even had a pic of him running over LL Cool J's signature Kango, it just wasn't enough to stop the inevitable. Rap had grown and outgrown that old school style. I Know You Got Soul by Eric B. and Rakim opens with authority. Picture a mic. The stage is empty. From there, Rakim lays down the standard. If you can't control the crowd, drop the mic, you shouldn't be holding. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just presence, command, and execution.
This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none.
Boys in the Hood by Eazy-E and NWA, if you want to get official with it. This is the 6 in the Morning Part 2, or you can say it was a Schoolie D PSK Part 3. Either way you want to go, the same thing. But the song works off the cadence alone. If you're going to be a copycat, copy the right cat. From Schoolie D to Ice-T to Eazy-E, each version escalated. Eazy didn't just land, it echoed into film history.
The boys in the hood are always hard. You come talking the trash, we'll pull your car.
Thus the movie Boys in the Hood. The storytelling keeps raising the stakes, car theft to domestic chaos to courtroom gunplay, pushing the narrative until you're left asking, what else could happen? That's why this version stuck. Freaky Tales by Too Short is a West Coast summer anthem. The record had the whole season so lit that even the ice cream trucks ditched their original chimes and pulled through bumping, these are the tales, the freaky tales. Pure Bay Area energy, stories, face, and repetition that turned everyday streets into a soundtrack. You're still liable to hear this while riding down the Foothill Strip in Oakland, California. You're a Customer, It's My Thing by EPMD. Together. These are a masterclass in iconic structure by EPMD. Remember when I talked about iconic intros in episode 86 and in episode 85? Both of these have them. From E-Dub's Knick-Knack, Paddywhack, Give a Dog a Bone, Don't Give Them Nothing But the Microphone, to PMD's MCs out there, You Better Stay Clear. EPMD proved that they were the kings of intros, but they didn't stop there. The middle stay sharp. Ah, where was I? Oh yes, say a death rhyme to the bum the rest. And the outros close from too. MCs, it's the final countdown. You look tired, can you go the round? With boxing metaphors about going around and earning respect. And then how about the mind is weary, floating like a dove, sweating in things as if you was making love, controlling the crowd so they can accept it. Total concentration is the perfect message. Yes, Eric B. and Rakim had a dope double single too, but these two records hit simultaneously with no drop off. The intros, the middles, and the endings all intact. That balance is why they endure, and they are the song of the year. Together. But 1987 didn't stop at singles. This was also the year albums became something that you live with. Cohesion, vision, and staying power. Now let's get into the album of the year candidates. Honorable mention. Rock the House by DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. This one deserves a nod for keeping hip-hop fun, accessible, and technically sharp at a time when the culture was expanding into multiple different directions. Jeff's cutting stayed crisp, including introducing us to the Transformer scratch on the magnificent Jazzy Jeff. The chemistry was real, and the album leaned into personality without losing musicality. It mattered, just not in a way that the heavyweights that were reshaping the sound and the direction of the year did. This one picked up essentially where the Fat Boys left off with humor and storytelling. Rock the House by Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was dope to say the least, but it just doesn't compare to these juggernauts. Yo Bum Rusher Show by Public Enemy on Def Jam Records. First of all, starting off with the song You're Going to Get Yours, I had no idea what I was listening to when I heard this on the radio. Just one of them songs that I was listening and I recorded because I was recording and I didn't erase the song. It never got erased. Didn't know who they was or whatever, but talking about 98 and me living on the main boulevard in my town, that's all I saw was 98 driving up and down, and 9/8 and Fleetwood Broms driving up and down Cutting Boulevard. You know what I mean? So, hey, it just fit in. You know what I mean? And this would have been my theme song too if I was driving one. Sophisticated though. This right here, taking that Friends drum track, this is dope story making like Run DMC's Dumb Girl was, but it took it to a whole nother level. Better walk, don't talk, she's all pretend.
Can't be her friend unless you spin.
Oh yeah, this is another one of the rocking guitar songs, and it was Def Jam, so you know, what do we expect? It was Rick Rubin. That's what he did. But I call it next level because kids leveled up from being dumb to sophisticated. See what they did there?
She wants to suck a boy with the at that shit. And if you ain't got it, she'll turn you away.
You know what I mean? He tells a story about how she went from guy to guy or whatnot and almost got unalived dealing with the wrong dude. Go back and listen to that. It's a jam. If you never heard it before, you're going to love it. And if you have, it's going to just take you back. 1987. My Uzi weighs a ton. I think too many people got down on the break beats, but the whole song was up. This is one of those ones right there. But I got to get to this one right here. Time Bomb. Maybe a Flow of the Year candidate. This one has aged well, and it's really what we need in hip-hop. I told y'all in 1986 that Run DMC may have started a pro-black movement in rap music, and now I know that there's probably other songs, but Proud to Be Black really set it off. And here comes Chuck D with this message-laced joint called Time Bomb. Cycles, lifers and cycles. New as old, though I'm not in no cycle. The delivery, the precision, and the wisdom, he said. Sometimes it's when you're down that you hit rock bottom. That's when you start to come up. But I'm easy on the panels. I'm reading the lyrics myself. Heavy on the floor, but easy on the panel. Cool smoke cool because it's jokes on camera. This was just a way of saying that they act like they want the battle. They talk about it. They act like they're ready for it. They think they're ready for it, but they really rather smoke cools because they choke on these Camels. Cools were menthol cigarettes, if you didn't know. They was more smooth on the throat. Camels are stronger than non-menthol, and they're harsher to smoke. So Chuck says he can't handle the stronger stuff, so he goes for what's easier, talking about the competition. Time Bomb is warning-oriented. The song says pressure reveals who's real, weak systems collapse, fake toughness detonates itself. That's classic Public Enemy. Everyday imagery turned into political and psychological critique. No filler, no wasted syllables. Chuck said what he said when he said it, and you could tell he meant what he said when he did it. While Public Enemy #1 was part of Flavor Flav's trifecta of lyrics on display, showing he was more than just a hype man. Shout out to Public Enemy. Ice-T, Brian Page. If you ever wanted to know if a West Coast rapper could flow, listen to this. This also was his contribution to the rock rap guitar movement, with Evil Lee dogging and Wax once again over breakbeats. 6 in the morning. Let's revert back to 1986 so you can see what I said. 6 in the morning. Now, I mentioned Schoolie D the last time because, you know, be honest with you, part of the Bay where I'm from, we didn't really listen to him too much, you know, so I forgot to really highlight him. If I'll be honest with y'all, in 1985, did give him an honorable mention, but I think, and this is my opinion, that Ice-T made his style better. He's given the credit for starting the flow, starting the cadence, and then Ice-T comes back and he refined the style. You know what I mean? Schoolie D did lay the blueprint, but West Coast storytelling told so well on this song that it had you looking in your rear view, hoping that you didn't get pulled over by LAPD. That is Ice-T doing what storytelling at its finest, keeps you locked in. Make It Funky is true rap, or should I say hip-hop song, complete with a flow, with call and response, just like they did back in the days. Is Brooklyn in the house?
Brooklyn's in the house. Brooklyn's in the house.
Go Brooklyn, go Brooklyn. so on and so forth. Make It Funky is a true rap, or should I say hip-hop song, complete with a flow, with call and response, just like they did back in the days. Then we get to Pimpin' Ain't Easy. The original version of Lifestyle, like Rich Homie Quan, shout out to Rich Homie Quan, R.I.P. to that brother. But this one right here, it still hasn't been lived up to by most rappers, the way that Ice-T talked about how he was living. The song 409, he rapped about saying his flow was like cleaning the church, you know what I mean? And he keeps it clean with 409. Guys grab a girl, girls grab a guy. And if a guy wants, please take it outside. Speaking of the girls, I Love Ladies is self-explanatory, but it talked about giving ladies their flowers. Ice does it several times. It even shows the storytelling abilities of a beautiful woman knowing what she wants and going for it. Then we get to what could very well be another Floor of the Year candidate. I didn't even put that in my notes, but Pain by Ice-T is a life lesson. This is for any young man or woman even thinking about the street life. Ice-T breaks it down without glamour.
No matter how cold you roll, you simply cannot win.
It's always fun in the beginning, but it's pain in the end. He had a calm delivery, he had a clear message, and it was reality over romance on this one. That's why the flow hits. I actually broke down that third verse on Flow Improved, and I don't want to repeat myself, but here are a couple of lines that matter here.
Sit down, take it back.
We're a neighborhood terror. Can't hang around my mother cause she said I scare her. Got a light sunburn from too much poolside.
I got a light sunburn from too much poolside sitting. That's when you on the upper echelon, you know what I'm saying, of hustling. You know what I mean? You ain't on the streets, hand to hand as they used to call it, you know what I mean? Serving to the dope fiends. You're not pushing weight to the point where you're traveling around riding dirty, dropping out ounces or kilos to people. You living it to whereas you just having your people bring it in and putting it out there, and you just making the money, you know what I'm saying?
Mine's in the money mode, see if I get to explode. Girlies on my Jimmy, got a female overload.
Mine's in the money mode. He just thinking about straight getting money all the time, you know what I'm saying? It seems like it should explode. Because that's all he thinking about is money, you know what I'm saying? The wheels are steady turning, you know what I mean? Girls on my jammy, girls on my jock, girls on my bumpers, girls just own me. You know what I'm saying? Girls on my jammy, I got a female overload. That's how he was living, you know what I mean? Real player stuff. He said he threw me on the floor and called my girl a whore. That's, you know, instead of saying H-O, he said W-H-O-R-E. You know what I mean? That's crazy, huh? The police is coming to your house, call her a whore, throw her to the side or whatever. And then he says they pulled 10 G's. I'm going to say it before he said, once again, pulled 10 G's out of my mattress and was looking for more. In other words, they know he the man, so 10,000, they not selling for that. You know what I mean? He called my girl a whore and pulled 10 G's out of my mattress and was looking for more.
If you want the full breakdown, I already did the homework. Go back, take a listen to the full episode. You'll love it.
I pull out my old white too short tape.
Because the old white too short tape is a classic.
Too Short, Born to Mac. On the heels of success of Freaky Tales, it's a back attack coming from way back. My name is Too Short, baby. I don't play that jack.
From the dangerous crew, and I tell you it's true. Everything they said about Playboy too.
Originally released in 1987, most of y'all didn't hear it until 1989 after the platinum release of Life is Too Short, which we'll break down for 1988. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you're locked in, and then you'll be able to check out 1988. But back to 1987. Born to Mac with gold, but only because most of us in the Bay had it, having brought it on an independent level. Party Time was a bass-driven party track which sets the pace for future joints like Rhymes, Short But Funky, and Burn Rubber. Playboy Short 2 could also be a Floor of the Year candidate, especially when we get to a certain verse, which I'll talk about in just a moment. This is the first remake, or part 2, made in a mode and labeled as a remake to the classic joint Playboy Short. Part 2 had its own lane sharing the same bass line, but with a faster flow. Now, there's no foundational truth to the rumor I started, so let me start off with this fact. There are 4 rappers that you don't want no smoke with. Maybe 5. 50 Cent, Scarface, Ice Cube, Kendrick Lamar, and Too Short. People don't realize he's been clowning dudes for years in his music and just ain't said no names. Now, listen to this right here. I went to a party. Guess who was in it? Two dumb suckers, and in just 2 minutes, they was on the mic, speaking my name, saying Too Short don't know the game, but when I got on the mic, I said 2 rhymes, and both of those suckers said sorry 2 times. I couldn't lie. I tried to be nice, but I just couldn't help it. I was laughed at twice. On this, I believe he was talking about the audio too, but only Short can confirm that. You know what I mean? This is one of those stories of a hustler living life in the Bay Area, warning about the consequences of the game. Jails in verse 1, drug abuse in verse 2, and then he just starts clowning on verse 3, just talking about everyday life, in the life, Oakland, California. Freaky Tales was originally supposed to be 75 different girls, but narrowed down to 30 something, closer to 40. I don't know the exact number, just for the sake of time. 9.5 minutes of bass and sinister mob music the Bay Area became known for. Then there's Dope Fiend Beat. First heard this in the concert, thus the intro. It wasn't just a song though, this was an atmosphere. So you could only imagine how it sounded in a room of thousands of people. Built on a raw hypnotic loop, it became an intro theme in live shows and a street staple in the Bay. The beat didn't rush, it marched, pulling you into Short's world before he even started talking. That pacing mattered. It taught a generation that vibe and patience could hit harder than speed or polish. And the impact, it normalized minimalist West Coast production. It reinforced the Bay's reputation for bass, repetition, and move. And it also gave us more of that mob sound, and it showed that sometimes the beat itself is the statement.
Even when I worked with the professional musicians, I'm like, let me program the drums, and then let me lay like a little funky bass line, and then y'all take over and put some guitar and shit on it. But a lot of times it was just, I would make a beat and put a bass line on it and maybe some weird ass little sound or something to go with it. I'd be like, it's done. Like, go listen to Dope Fiend Beat. That's me. It's just
that's you.
That's
all you.
The whole beat. So look, look what I do. Like the song come on.
The coldest, man.
The song come on. I just hit one note and go. Bang. I just hold it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, just let it play, man. They thought I was crazy in the studio. They thought I was crazy. But I'm like, just let it play, bro. I grew up on that Parliament Funkadelic shit. Like, there's always a way to make it funky, man. Like, always a fucking way. You can just hold one note.
Then we get to probably the most underrated cut on the album, Little Girls. All about a young lady Short debating with himself about getting with. Reluctantly coming close to doing so, and when he thought about it, she'd just come of age, and he found out that she wasn't who he thought she was. It's a lesson a lot of us could use and should take heed to. Universal mixes this album's only skip, and it's the reason why it can't be album of the year. Otherwise, I'd have to lock it in just for its culture relevance, particularly for the Bay Area. Message that still stands the test of time. But, you know, he was following in the mode of a lot of DJs. You know, a lot of cats at that time was giving record to their DJ. You know what I mean? And you can't be mad about that because DJ Universe did his thing on the turntables, but Short takes credit for producing the whole thing. So if it's true, Short would get Producer of the Year for the album. It's just this one right here, DJ Universe just cutting and scratching. Just wasn't as good of a song as you could have been. And there's no shade on DJ Universe. Most DJ tracks taken from a DJ of over 20 years just were not what they were hyped up to be, or just were not what they probably set out for them to be. But everybody wanted to show love to their DJ, and it's like Run DMC did with Jam Master Jay, the best DJ of the USA. Bottom line is this: Born to Mac went gold, but only because most of us in the Bay Area had it already.
I was broke, and I was broke as fuck in February 1987. Coming off In Between 75 Girls and Dangerous Music, it was a time when Dean Hodges was like, I don't want to do it no more. And me, his little brother, his cousin, we was just assed out. Like Dean was, the money that we was making off the 75 Girls records, that was all our little pocket change balling. He cut us off, that shit was done. We had to get back to the drawing board and figure out how to do it. So I was broke in February, March 1987. In fucking, maybe by August, I had a bank account with $250,000 in it. I put out Freaky Tales, I put out Born to Mac, and I just did the same formula Dean did. And from that point on, I have never been broke since that day when we started making that Freaky Tales money.
You know. Next, we get into Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full. I Ain't No Joke is one of those ones right there. Most rappers have a dope first verse or a dope second verse, like I told you, the intro or whatnot. It's an iconic verse. This was an iconic song. I remember me and my homeboy was writing the lyrics down to the second verse because back then we didn't have lyrics on screen, videos, and stuff like that. We was writing it and just listening to him. You put my tape on pause and add some more to yours, and then you figured you're ready for the neighborhood chores. Man, I was so glad I was writing but not biting because we just wanted to be able to recite along with him, not go out and compete with everybody else, which is what he was accused of a lot of MCs was. When I see y'all, keep a freestyle going steadily, so fuck her up and whistle my melody. It wasn't like he had a lot of songs to reference to, but he had a lot of bars. Go back to that second verse when you see me come up freeze, or you be one of those 7 MCs. And then it's on to check out my melody. Did I skip a song? Yes, and I did. Shout out to you if you noticed. I did, and chances are you probably did. And if you didn't notice, it's probably because you had a tape done by someone else who did. It's the only reason why this album did not win Album of the Year. Eric B is on the Cut was a cool song or whatnot, but come on, y'all. Everybody say, when I see on Facebook and stuff like that, posts like that, name an album that has no skips, and they say paid in full, but come on, y'all. Y'all skipped Eric B is on the Cut. Y'all skipped Chinese Arithmetic. Scratching may have been dope and everything else, but you skipped it because it failed to keep up with the rhythm going, or what the appetite of what many believe to be the best rapper to come out at that time. Run DMC had gave the blueprint and kept the party going while hyping your DJ, but truth is, he only became his DJ right before the album, so they didn't have it like the forefathers, Houdini, or the aforementioned Run DMC, or even peers like Jazzy Jeff, the Fresh Prince, or UTFO, who were doing it in their own right. Check out my melody, though. Picked up where Eric B on the chat dropped off.
The rhyme is rugged at the same time sharp. I can swing off anything, even a string of a harp.
Let's get into this. Let's get to it. The best part, I was 52 years old when I finally figured out what he said, and that's when I was preparing for this video. Let me paraphrase this right here, all right? I'm going to say it because we don't want to get copyrighted. Matter of fact, if you hear any lyrics on here, it's only because they cleared YouTube's copyright. But listen to this as I say it, and I'm gonna put it in as much as possible. But here we go. He started off this verse by saying, I'm not a regular competitor, not a first rhyme editor, not a melody arranger, poet, etc. I'm extra advanced with a grand finale like a bonus. I am the man they call the microphonist with wisdom, which means wise words being spoken. Too many at one time and watch the mic start smoking. That's why I slow it down, right? Too many at one time. Yeah, mic start smoking. I need my mic. I got to keep my mic. You understand what I'm saying? And I need your ear so you can understand what he said. Let me go back just a little bit. I am the man they call the microphonist with wisdom, which means wise words being spoken. Too many at one time and watch the mic start smoking. I came to express the rap I manifested. The rap I manifest, and try to go against me, I'll veto. In other words, protest. If you try to go against me, I'll veto. In other words, protest. MCs that wanna beat this, they're gonna beat this. If they don't get from in front of, all they can go get is me a glass of Moet or hard times. If you do so, watch a smooth poet. One more time, we'll take it back for y'all so you can really keep it, all right? So I gave it to you, but I don't know if you caught it, so I'm going to give it to you again so you can really keep it. Paraphrase. I'm not a regular competitor, not a first rhyme editor, melody arranger, poet, etc. I'm extra advanced, a grand finale like a bonus. I am the man they call the microphone with wisdom, which means wise words being spoken. Too many at one time and watch the mic start smoking. I came to express the rapper manifest and try to go against me, I'll veto. In other words, protest. I can't even say it as fast as he did and put it in the same sentence the way he did it, all right? I'll veto, in other words, protest. MCs that want to beat this, they're going to beat this. If they don't get from in front of, all they can go get is me a glass of Moet or hard times if you do, so watch a smooth poet. That's when we get to the, I take 7 MCs and put them in a line. I mentioned the show in Lottie Dottie as co-candidates for 1985 Song of the Year. Well, this dynamic duo was cool too, so let the record reflect this with Eric B as president as 1986 Songs of the Year. Released on the same 12-inch, same thing. So we basically got 3 years in a row, the 12-inch, which means that they really were saying something. Wasn't just putting nothing out there, just be putting it out there. 3 times in a row now. This is 3 times in a row. Wow, DJ Ron. We're going to see what 88 has in store. 3 times in a row that a 12-inch with 2 songs, Song of the Year. If I was water, I'd flow in the Nile. So many rhymes you won't have time to go for yours just because of applause I have to pause. Why is that line significant? Because he ends the song by saying, because you applauded right after tonight is when I prepare to catch another sucker duck MCs out there. My strategy has to be catastrophe. And after this, you'll call me your majesty. And then he comes back. Remember, just because of applause, I have to pause. So let's just say that he stops there without giving me that last little bit of narration, but then he comes back. Let me tell y'all a little something about producing and arranging. Then we come back with the comeback line. When you arrange songs and albums of music, now I know I didn't agree with the placement of I Ain't No Joke at the beginning. I felt like it should have been like the start of the next song, the next side of the album. But this song is absolutely perfectly placed. And I think I know why. It's like the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. He ended the show, not the rhyme, but the show, just because of applause, I have to pause. Just because of applause, I have to pause. Remember, the 12-inch came out in 86, and that was the last thing he said, basically, on that 12-inch. Then he came back in earlier 87 with I Know You Got Soul as a 12-inch, which was the forerunner, which was the forerunner for the album coming out a couple of months late. On the 12-inch, after saying, just because of applause, I have to pause. What does applause mean? Show's over. You've done your job. Back then, the pause was from June 1980. I wanted to make sure I drive this home. The pause was from June of 1986 to July 7, 1987 as a lead single off the Paid in Full album, which gives us the iconic intro.
It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a strong rhyme to step to.
We all know that part, and now you understand because his voice was so unique and easy to recognize. We get the next line. So you sit by the radio hand on the dial soon as you hear it.
Pump up the volume.
Now you understand that song a whole lot better, right? Move the Crowd is a lot of people's favorite. Move the Crowd is a lot of people's favorite song on the album, as well as from Rakim altogether. And really, who can blame them? How could I move the crowd? Or it's an actual fact. It's not an act. It's been proven.
And I proceed to make the crowd keep moving.
Lyrical genius.
We can get paid in full.
Thinking of a master plan.
Ain't nothing but
to understand that line is to understand the master plan is unfolding in your ears and right before your eyes. First of all, Rakim could give a master class on iconic first lines because in each of the songs he had one. I ain't no joke. I used to let the mic smoke. Then you remember, we go to check out my melody. Turn up the bass, check out my melody, hand out a cigar. I'm letting knowledge be born, and my name's the. And then I Know You Got Soul had.
It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you.
All these were ways to connect with the listener as soon as they hear it, and this is the beginning of a master plan to change the narrative of his life story.
This is a hold up. Ain't nothing funny. Stop smiling. We still don't nothing move but the money.
And here's the thing. He said he's turned over a new leaf. And now I learn to earn because I'm righteous. Talk about growing up before your eyes. As the rhyme goes on, it's strategically placed as well. One of the best flows ever placed on wax. Easily could be another flow of the year. The part I like the most though is when he gets to talking about rocking the party, you know what I mean? And he just illustrates how it comes together, the 5 boroughs react and all the hours track and every state can't wait. You know what I mean? He's talking about going on tour and everywhere he goes, he's getting sold out shows. You know what I mean? So if every other artist ain't doing their thing, then watch out, because he gonna pull out the coolest mic and entertain you well. Before I let go, I'ma spark your brain cell. Man, and then he just told the story about rocking the party, and then he tells the story of people leaving the party. Hey yo, you know Rakim? That brother struck again. Chinese arithmetic, talked about it already. Skip. Gone. All together, 7 strong songs out of 10. And if you're counting, and feel short, go back again. Check out Eric B. as President. And what's the other two? Eric B. is on the cut. No, I skipped Eric B. as President. And if you feel shorted, go check out 1986 for Eric B. as President. Matter of fact, I'll put it here. Eric B. as President by new kid on the block. His name was Rakim, and he had his DJ. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, this song right here was precision. It was minimalism. It was authority, though. You know what I mean? And this will refine what dominance should look like. Every verse on this sounded well rehearsed. My mind remains refined. All kinds of ideas, self-esteem makes it seem like a thought took years to build. Next level lyricism, so much to the point that DMC and Run DMC said upon hearing this, he knew it was the beginning of the end of rap as we knew it, and subsequently his career.
Saying it. Like he knew. He's like, yo, what Rakim changed the landscape of where the rap was going.
Me personally, I'm not sure if this was a diss, but think about it. DMC said that stood for Devastating Mic Controller. And then here come Rakim. Now, I could be reaching, but just listen. I don't bug out or chill. Don't be acting ill. Keep in mind, You Be Illin' was one of the songs on Run DMC Raising Hell. Well, it was Run's solo joint, but DMC was the dummy that was illin' on the song. So again, I don't bug out or chill. Don't be acting ill. No tricks in 86. It's time to build. Eric B. Easy on the cut. No mistakes allowed. Because to me, MC means move the crowd. For Rakim to say, to me, MC means move the crowd is a great preempting to the next line. Run DMC is not really known for party records, especially not up to this point. So for him to say, after he said MC means move the crowd, I made it easy to dance to this. But can you detect what's coming next from the flex of the wrist? Say indeed, then I'll proceed. This is what I'm talking about, lyricism right here. He's talking to the listener while he's making you dance. Can you detect what's coming next from the flex of the wrist? That's for the DJ, you know what I mean? Because at that time, DJ would mix to keep the music going and everything else, and apparently that's what Eric B was doing. As a matter of fact, then he says, say indeed. In other words, answer what I'm saying. Answer that question, and if you say yeah, then I'll proceed. Because my man made a mix, talking about Eric B. And if he bleed, we don't need a Band-Aid to fix. Am I reaching? Yeah, okay. Because it's definitely not like a new rapper will come along in the game and try to take out the winners at the top, right? Right? Nah, they don't do that. Kendrick didn't do that. 50 didn't do that. And of course, Rakim didn't try to do that either. Tell that to DMC. The other three are Eric B. is on the cut and Chinese Arithmetic, which I already talked about. Both are skips, so that's 8 and 9. And number 10 is called the Extended Beat, which really is just the instrumental version of Move the Crowd. LL Cool J, bang. This album was something we never heard before, from the intro to the metaphors. To the iconic last verse of the video he displayed, not one but two DJs. We knew Cut Creator was good, but nobody was cutting quite like Bobcat Irvin. Candy was the Around the Way girl before Around the Way girl came that had us all one. Rumor is Candy was code for something else, but I'm gonna leave that alone, literally and figuratively. Get Down had LL Cool J and Cut Creator reminding us and reclaiming that crown of ninja of rap. The boss is back. The only man you should call on when the party is packed. Meaning a DJ couldn't miss playing his music, and he was right. The Bristol Hotel is the only skip, though it's listenable. Sometimes it's listenable, I would say. But the tale is told of an age-infected setup prostitute in Jamaica, Queens, and it's told so well that you won't want to mess with none of the queens in Queens. My rhyme ain't done. It's more LL storytelling, spending time with He-Man, Mickey Mouse, the Honeymooners, from fantasies with Alice in Wonderland to real-life dreams coming true in St. Albans, Queens. Shout out to LL Cool J. He did his thing on that one. 357 is our last Flow of the Year candidate. One of the best pure hip-hop tracks of his time, LL Cool J goes over 808 drum kicks and quick hitting snares. You don't know how many have died when the LL growl was amplified. One of my favorite songs on the album. Go Cut Creator Go is a near 4-minute shout out to himself and his first DJ, Go Cut Creator. And his first DJ, Cut Creator. First time LL used rock guitars, though, it was haphazardly and mixed in with more of a bluesy sound. But the standout break features one of the best cuts of all time.
LL Cool J is hard to create another record for me.
The breakthrough. The breakthrough. This is another Floor of the Year candidate. Still relevant to this day. It's a real flow show mentioning life lessons that are true to this day while still showing his lyrical prowess. The breakthrough delivers a layered sneak diss not aimed at one rapper but at the rap hierarchy of the 1980s. Run DMC had crowned themselves the kings of rock. LL responds by calling himself the Ace, noting how the kings were a pair, a deuce, and LL was refusing to be second in anyone's deck. When he said turning top-notch crews into fugitives, it subtly references Houdini echoing their song Fugitive and signaling a shift away from the previous era. The overall tone challenges veteran dominance without naming any names. Classic 80s sneak diss strategy. Kendrick Lamar would be proud, or is it vice versa? I Need Love by LL Cool J. Many people think this is the first rap love song of all time, and I thought so too. But he had a song on his first album called I Want You, and then my favorite, I Can Give You More, which were also love songs. But actually, I think Curtis Blow was the first one to put a real love song down. Check the histories. Ask Genius. I'm not really sure. But this right here answered the question that nobody was asking yet. How does a rapper go from so hard to so soft and still be believable? LL didn't flinch. He showed his range, he showed his vulnerability, and his confidence at the same time, proving that toughness wasn't just aggression, it was control. This record expanded what hip-hop artists were allowed to express, and the culture followed along. Let's Get Ill takes no losses with LL explaining over and over and over what LL means. And then we get to the doo-wop. LL Cool J delivers a street-level warning record aimed at fake tough guys, fighters, and opportunities surrounding hip-hop's growing spotlight. Rather than a direct diss, LL uses threats and bravado to protect his reputation. He has battle-ready language to draw lines between real MCs and pretenders, and New York street codes to reinforce authenticity and dominance, as well as swag for the ladies. My knees to get hurt, and then I made my approach. I said you got a good team, girl, but you need a new coach. The record reflects a moment when hip-hop was commercializing fast, and LL asserting that he wasn't industry-made, he's not to be tested, and he's prepared to defend his spot physically and lyrically. Bottom line, the doo-wop is LL Cool J's policing the culture. A gritty reminder that success doesn't erase street rules and respect is still earned, not assumed. All right, let's be clear and direct. Comparing LL Cool J's Bigger and Deeper to Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full is a classic debate, but there's no single better here. Just two landmark albums serving different purposes. LL's album is all about star power and crossover impact. It blends battle-ready tracks with radio-friendly hits like I Need Love. In other words, it's a blueprint for rap superstardom, proving that you could be hardcore and still go mainstream. Paid in Full, on the other hand, is all about lyrical revolution and production innovation. Rakim's rhyme patterns changed the game, and the beats were a masterclass in sampling. It set a new standard for lyrical complexity and cool, jazzy beats. The bottom line is this: if you're measuring mainstream influence and commercial success, Bad had a bigger radio footprint. But if you're measuring lyrical and stylistic innovation, Paid in Full is a more transformative record. So there's no single better album. It depends on what you value more. They're both pillars of 1987, just serving different corners of the culture. And if you want my blunt opinion, call it a draw and respect them both for what they each brought to the table. You can't really lose with either one, so just keep it that straightforward. So I'm gonna ask you to make your choice. Which album is better? You prefer Paid in Full or Bad? And for those of y'all that don't really understand how good Bad was, you had to be there to understand. To cap it all off, y'all, our song of the year is You're a Customer, It's My Thing. Released in 1987, they were a precursor to the album that came out in 1988. But those songs are definitely the song of the year. Crew of the Year, 1987. It had to be Public Enemy by default because there were not a lot of crew albums that year. This was a year of solo artists. You know what I mean? Just about all of them were solo artists. Impact Album of the Year would have to go to Paid in Full because it really changed the way that everybody started rapping. They really had to say something. We find out in 1988, most of those rappers made sure that their lyrics was tight before they dropped their albums. Artist of the Year, 1987. The Artist of the Year, 1987, would have to go to LL Cool J. It would have to go to LL Cool J just because of how dope that album was. Again, he had no skips on there, which technically should give him Album of the Year. Well, he had one skip. He had the Bristol Hotel. That was a rapping skip. So that's why I'm torn, because you had a rap song skip, but it was still listenable. So again, I put the ball in y'all court. Y'all tell me what the Album of the Year was. LL Cool J's bad, or is it Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full? Let me know in the comments. As for Floor of the Year, I got to give it to Pain. I got to give it to Ice-T. Just because what it meant then and what it meant now. When Ice Cube repeated those lines on Natural Born Killers, a lot of people didn't know where it came from. They just thought it was a tight line. But, you know, it is what it is and was what it was. Ice-T was the one that coined that phrase. Gold rope wearer, neighborhood terror. Can't hang around my mother because she says I scare her. Man, dope then and it's dope now. That brings us to the close of 1987. To recap, once again, Song of the Year goes to a dual record, 12-inch that was. You're a Customer, It's My Thing. Two sides of the same moment, culture and competition wrapped together. DJ Producer of the Year, I know I didn't mention it earlier, but I got to give it out to DJ Jazzy Jeff. Go back and listen to the song Magnificent, Jazzy Jeff, where Fresh Prince is narrating and Jazzy Jeff is doing his thing. But also, I talk about DJ instrumentals, what I call them. The instrumental songs where the DJ just showing out. I told you Eric B. and Rakim's was not all that good. DJ Universe on the Universal Mix was not all that good. Listen to A Touch of Jazz on that album, on that first album, Rock the House. You see what a DJ instrumental is supposed to be about. That keeps your ear all the way through. Jams all the way through. Impact of the Year belongs to Yo Bum Rush Show, namely Time Bomb and Right Starter, A Message to the Black Man. If you haven't heard that song before, I implore you, please go listen to that song now. It's a message for you right now today, just like it was back in 1987. That album itself, it didn't just make noise, it shifted the temperature of hip hop as a whole. That's why Chuck D gets the props that he does, not just in the United States, but around the world, still touring to this day. Artist of the Year is LL Cool J. His presence, his balance, and consistency at the highest level puts him in the stratosphere for that. The Floor of the Year goes to Pain. It's a record that showed where real street realism and control could meet. And for the Album of the Year, I'm leaving this one to you. It's a listener's choice. Bad by LL Cool J or Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. I'm personally torn between the two, and I wouldn't argue either way it goes. Those are 1987 candidates as they stand right now. I may come back and add one more, but for now, this year speaks for itself. Every beat tells a story. The flow is how it goes. This has been Classic Flow, the mix, the culture, and the movement. DJ Ron, the classic DJ from the Bay. I'm out. Peace.
Represent the Yay area.